I still have some things to say about the Odyssey. First, yesterday I was saying Christopher Nolan's an American, and he's not an American. He's half American. He's got dual citizenship, and he's got a British accent, and he was born in England. So that makes him not the American. For some reason I just thought he was an American dude. I heard him speak, and I was like, that's not the voice I thought he had. But yeah, he's a little British. But he lives in America. His kids are American. Let's say he's an American. He is American, but he sounds British. So if you hear him, you say, oh, he's probably not American. But he is. But he does have dual citizenship. So if you say, oh, he's British, you want to claim him. You're in England right now. You want to claim him. You got a case. But it doesn't matter. Who cares? I just keep thinking about the Odyssey, and I was thinking about my rating of 38 stars. I raised up to 38 stars. I think it's got to go up 39. The more I think about the movie, we're raising the stars up to 39, and it's a worry. Some people are saying that my star system can't sustain itself over 40. It's going to collapse. And I know it's a possibility, but I'm unafraid. Oh, there's a leaf blower going, so you might hear that. I don't have a professional studio. I'm an independent journalist, which makes me better than corporate media. Sure, you can watch them behind their desk, all right, with their fancy screens, and they're wearing suits, and you won't hear a leaf blower, but they'll feed you lies. And also some of the independent. Is it independent if they're millionaires and they have people from the administration in their studio? Is that independent media? Okay, sure. I don't know if they even call themselves independent media. I'm talking specifically about Joe Rogan. That's who's in my mind right now. I was trying to be vague and let me not say his name, but who cares? This is a small show. I can talk about, and I'm independent. I'm truly independent media, where he is. I don't think you can call that independent media. I do have a Substack, and you can go there if you want to read this podcast as opposed to hear my voice. And you wouldn't hear the leaf blower right now. You could just read it. There's a transcript, which is created by AI. I have no control over that. You record something, there is 5 different things creating transcripts. Like the voice recorder app makes a transcript, then Substack, where I post the podcast, makes a transcript, and I think Apple makes a transcript. So, like on Apple Podcasts, so AI is making transcripts, but I go over it, I look at it, I make changes to things it messes up. I take out some ums and ahs and likes and knows, and make it a little more readable. I leave some in when I think it makes sense. Sometimes they need to be, because I don't finish sentences a lot. So it's probably happened several times already. Right there, I almost went off into something else. I don't finish thoughts all the time, and I think that I do. And I realize that from reading the transcript. So sometimes I'll finish the thought there. So the transcript's actually a whole nother show. It's basically the same thing, but you can read it, and it's on Substack, which is free, basically. You can pay if you want. And then, but I'm still independent media if you pay. But basically everything's free. And there's some people who pay, which is nice, but they don't really get anything extra right now. But, pretty soon I'll start giving them some extra shit. I have to. I feel bad about that. But you're also just supporting me and my work, which is not tax deductible, but it should be. But that they don't want it to be because I'm independent media. Now I'm going to get to the news. The Gates Foundation met with Epstein about 30 times despite staff concerns, an external review says. Oh, I guess I'm not independent media if I'm just reading the news headlines off Reddit. Is that independent? Well, I'm independently reading it. I still think that it's independent media, but maybe not. As I take shots at Joe Rogan. Well, he, in my opinion, is a liar. But that's, I don't want to get into a whole, let me talk about him. I don't want to be that kind of show. But every once in a while, just say, what a fucking dickhead. But yeah, I'm just reading the headlines off Reddit. Sorted by best. I think that's the way to do it, by best. Some people might say go by hot. That's better. I don't know. So I'm going to reread that headline because then I got off track. The Gates Foundation met with Epstein about 30 times despite staff concerns and an external review says. The staff knew Epstein was a guy to get away from. So some people will be, oh, people didn't know Epstein was a pedophile. They thought he was just like a party guy, and he was around and had all this money, and he would fly everybody to his island. And oh, there wasn't always kids there. Sometimes it was adults that were trafficked. You know, he trafficked lots of people of all ages. So let's not get too judgmental over Bill Gates. But people on the staff was like, hey, can you stop meeting with Jeffrey Epstein? He's a fucking creep. Nobody understands how he's a billionaire. And he keeps trying to get his friends to have sex. That's a weird thing. I've never really had my friends involved in that. It was just always my project. They were worried about them having sex. And then it was upon me to worry about me. And Bill Gates, he doesn't have resources. He can't cheat on his wife without this other guy. And you don't have your own plane. You can buy an island, Bill Gates. You got shit going on. You made Microsoft Outlook. I mean, I wouldn't lead with that when you're talking to women. I think he talked to adults. I don't think anybody's saying Bill Gates was a pedophile. He just didn't seem to have a problem hanging out with one. Oh, he didn't know. He didn't know. But the people on his staff knew something was up. And he said, hey, I made it Microsoft Outlook. I think I can judge character. I'm pretty much a genius. I know he made other things, but Microsoft Outlook is what he should be known for forever. That should be his shame. Boycott boosts Memphis pizza shop after owner refused to serve National Guard because the National Guard are currently occupying Memphis as a law enforcement tactic. The president saying, hey, we're going to make Memphis a police state and have National Guard around when there's not an actual emergency happening. And this dude's like, well, you can't eat my pizza then, National Guard. No offense, but you can't eat my fucking pizza. And I'm sure that outraged conservatives on the internet. They're saying, hey, don't go to this pizza shop. And people in Memphis are like, yeah, we kind of don't like National Guard here, so we're going to go to the pizza shop. And now they got a lot of people eating their pizza. That's a nice story. I mean, not the National Guard occupying Memphis part, but the people of Memphis buying this guy's pizza part. That's good. Ryanair says its planes are safe after passenger nearly sucked out of window. I'm going to need a little more assurance than that if I'm ever going to get on a Ryanair flight. I know they're cheap. You can't expect a lot for a cheap airline. But once somebody gets sucked out the window, I'm going to need a not getting sucked out the window guarantee. Not just say, oh, the planes are safe. I'm saying money back if I get sucked out the window. Actually, if anybody gets sucked out of the window on my flight, I should get my money back. And don't try to buy me off with miles. No, money back in my account because I'm probably going to start taking a different airline. Maybe. I hear the prices are very good on Ryanair. U.S. soldier killed in Iraq was 30-year-old father from North Carolina. That's very sad. That's all I'm going to say about that. Hungary's chess queen declines Peter Magyar's offer of role as president. She was offered the role of president of Hungary and said no because, hey, she's playing chess. Why are you going to go be a president when you can just be famous for playing chess and not have people be mad at you because you're president? And then you got no time to play chess. If you're going to play a chess tournament and you're a president, people are going to say, oh, you should be working. They don't do that with presidents of the United States when they play golf. And people do that, but then they play golf anyway. Has there been a president who doesn't play golf? I would love a president who didn't play golf. I'd love a chess master president. Well, I don't know. She's not going to be president of Hungary. Wreckage of Pan Am plane found 74 years after it crashed off Puerto Rico. It took them 74. They must have given up for a while, and then somebody just ran into it. They looked for it for however many days they looked for it. Said, we're never finding this thing. It's 74 years ago. They don't have all sorts of equipment. It's gone. You really need to find it? It's in the water. We know that, but we don't know where. And then people forget about it. Now somebody's snorkeling or whatever runs into a plane. You think that's worth any money? I hope they got a little bit of money for that. FIFA flies Portugal's World Cup team on plane used for ICE deportations. They didn't get the plane from the government, though, right? So they must have rented the same plane that the government rented, which is just kind of a coincidence. This is a Guardian headline, so sometimes they're a little clickbaity, as is most corporate media. Now me, I got no clickbait. This is all I read this clickbait article headline. I think it's clickbait. I'm not going to click it, so it isn't clickbait to me. But if you're interested, you can go click it, and then maybe it is something, and maybe it is an interesting story. I'm just guessing based on the headline. So you go ahead. You can find the link in my Substack. There's clickbait in there because I put all the links in the transcript. I forgot to mention that before when I was talking about the Substack. Don't worry about the Substack. I mean, go and subscribe, but don't, but do. I don't know what I'm saying.